Welcome everyone to another episode of Automation. So this time I actually am going to devise a couple of cars differently from last time. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to build some decent economy cars from the, let's say 2005. So what I did is actually first I designed a couple of engines, and now, just like what likely will be in the case once the grand campaign is here, we will have some variants of engines that we want to fit in certain cars instead of devising an engine for a car. So it's the other way around. In order to do that, I actually devised a couple of these engines, like I think 3 different variants. Yeah, 3 different variants. They're all the same size. They're like a 1.2 liter double overhead cam direct injection engine. And they are all, let's say, there are 3 different variants. I have an eco variant. And here you can see some of the stats. So this eco variant, which does not have a turbo, has an economy about 29.6. And it still has a decent power. Oh, is something I have to change. Wait a second. Horsepowers here. The rest is also okay, I would say. Yeah. So, because I'm more intuitive with the horsepower rating than the kilowatts. But anyway, so here you can see the performance of this engine. So what you can see is that, we produce a decent amount of power. I mean, it's not a lot, especially not for 2005. I mean, you do have cars that have these kind of engines nowadays, though usually they're inline 3s and not inline 4s, but you can have them. And of course it's small, this engine, and it's let's say it is economy tuned. That's why it's also called the eco version. So as you can see over here, the economy is decent. Amount of emissions is also pretty low, so it's all good, and still a reasonable amount of power. You can use it. Then we have the other variant, which is the eco turbo variant. This one I also made, and it also uses direct fuel injection systems. It looks like this. Turbo. Here you can see them. Fit it in nicely. And these engines were actually also tuned for an eco version, just like the name implies, but also to boost power a bit. So let's say to keep the same efficiency, but then more power. And what you can see is that indeed the efficiency is very good. It's 30%, so it's even a bit better than the naturally aspirated engine. But the power is now like 90 horsepower, which is decent for such a small engine, which is fully eco-tuned. It's a very decent amount of power. You can also hear how it runs. Here the turbos kick in. Oh, they're small, but because they're not performance tuned. But again, it shows the example that a turbo aids with power output, and it can also help with economy of an engine. And then I have a final variant, which is this one, which actually uses a bit more higher end stuff as well, as to see. VVT. It uses also a turbo, but now of course the turbo is being set up to produce a lot more power, so that will hurt our economy. I just have a single configuration, direct injection, regular fuel for all of them, by the way. So even for this performance engine, which could effectively also run on premium, I would say, I still keep it at regular. Maybe we can change that. Maybe we should. Yeah. Well, on the other hand, maybe not. Let's keep the same fuels for all 3 engines. And that's what this engine looks like. So it's the red turbo version. Red stands for performance, for power. So what you can see over here is that indeed you have a bigger turbo fitted on the engine. Reliability will likely suffer a bit, as well as economy of course, which is like 22% right now, but which is significantly lower than the other two. But still, it's a decent engine. So if we hear how it runs. Cam profile is also of course a bit different compared to the others. But that's then my performance engine. Now, what are we going to do with these? What I at least envisioned was to make a car, let's say a single model, have various variants, and all these different variants have a different motor or engine in them. And of course we will make a variant that is purely, let's say, budget economy. That would be using the naturally aspirated eco engine. Then we have a more, well, I would say regular, maybe premium, but maybe not. We have to see how it works out. Car of the same model type that is actually more fitted towards the premium market, but that uses the turbo eco version. And then we have a more sporty, maybe hatchback kind of thing that actually, needs more power and cares less about economy, and that will use this engine. Perhaps you will make a track car, I don't know. Let's see how it works. So now we're going to continue to making these cars. Yeah, so what to call them, this entire series? I would say we can call them the Robin. That's what I usually do for small cars. Let's see, so we have all these different variants and models. We definitely want something from the last 10 years and we want to make it in 2005. Do we see anything interesting? Definitely. But we need to have a car type that has a lot of different bodies. That would be best, so that we can adjust a bit. This looks nice, but it's not really suitable for very much different variants. Let's go to the top again. Yeah, I'm thinking we should either go for this one. Maybe you should go for this one. A small sedan. Or saloon car, as the British call it. Maybe that would be nice. I think I like this one. A smaller sedan. That would definitely help both with, let's say, having still a economical appearance, somewhat. I agree, it's not like a small car, not like a micro car or a compact car, but it's not that big, and it can fit the roles of both a sporty car and an economical car, and also in a way maybe a somewhat family car, especially if you go for the wagon size appearance. So okay, so let's start to model this. Maybe we can go a bit bigger like that. Again, we will have a slightly larger bonnet. The doors to be somewhat in the middle, but the front doors will be a bit bigger. We can flatten this out like that. And then of course try to adjust the wheel arches a bit. And we can always, for the sportier model, change it slightly. One in quality. Well, maybe not. Maybe just keep it as this. We will go for monocoque. We will go for AHS steel. we will go for a front longitudinal engine, even though transverse would be better. The only thing is that if we want a sporty car, well, maybe we can try the front transverse. Let's do that. There we go, double wishbone in the front. If it fits, it should fit definitely. It's a small engine. And we go, let's say, not fully into full sport mode, but more in a practical mode. Either double wishbone could be an option, or the semi-trailing arm. That's something I often like for such a car that has dual personalities. Not too expensive, of course. We also don't want to make it super expensive. Then we go for partial aluminium body, because it's lighter and yeah, it should be okay. I think it's not that much more expensive. If you compare to full steel, it says that material cost is, yeah, it's average, and corrosion is still also average. So even though the production units are a bit lower, and safety is actually a bit higher though. But let's go for partial aluminium, because we also don't have that powerful engines. Okay. Maybe I will speed through this. I don't know whether you all actually like to watch me assemble the car by fitting this. I would just go quickly through this entire process so that it looks nice. Okay, now some handles. Then for the regular version, let's go with the black ones then. Let's copy this. Yes. Now another patch in the back. Let's see. Taillights. What do we want here? Something that fits nice in this shape, I would say. It could be this. What else do we have? Maybe these. Yeah, this looks nice. Well, nah, not that. Nah, I don't know. Well, I think it will look nice with a different color. It's now red on red, which is always a bit confusing in a way. But yeah, I think it looks nice. And then put some indicators in the front and of course on the sides, which is something I also often like. Here, and let's put one over here, or maybe here, and a bit smaller. And let's put some vents in the top. You can also even put a smaller grill type in the front. Yeah, no, maybe not. I will go with the regular thing that I always do, which is these vents here, like that. Yeah, this looks okay. You can even put another grill in the bottom. Bit smaller. Maybe some smaller vents on the side. Yeah, I like it. And then we pick a color. Let's go for... Fine. It's okay for now. So this will be the standard version. Or actually maybe standard eco. Doesn't really look like a cheap eco car, I must say. But okay, so now we are going to fit in those 2005 engines. And then we put in the eco one for this. And we put in a manual, 5 speeds, because we will not get that high in terms of speed anyway. Maybe something like this. It will nicely fit, I assume. Yeah, definitely. Maybe actually this looks a bit ridiculous now. Maybe let's go for cheap and white. Because this is the eco. This is going to be the cheaper version. Yeah, and then we just keep an open differential. Just keep the... Well, we also want a eco version. So let's have one overdrive. Like that. Should be okay. Then we go for hard tires. Bit, well, maybe not that big actually. Because again, it's going to be a budget version. Oh, not too big either. It's probably not even necessary to go these sizes, but small wheels. Yeah, just like you see nowadays as well with the cheaper budget cars. Then we go for maybe one solid disc in the front and a drum brake in the rear. That should be okay. Probably this needs to go all the way down. Now we go without an under tray. We look at that. We hardly need any cooling, so that's a good sign. So we can keep some speed and fuel efficiency. We go for this a 5-seater. Let's go with a standard interior. And let's go with maybe a standard CD, power steering, and yeah, maybe a standard or advanced. We have a look later. Progressive springs, and then gas monotube dampers with passive sway bars. And let's try to do normal mode for at first. So we end up now with a standard car that is, well, let's say, has a decent reliability. It's not that light, but look at this. This is nice. 5.24, 5.25 or so liters per 100 kilometers. So it's not that fuel consuming as a car. So that's nice. If we now look in the markets category, we see, oh, it scores good as a commuter car, which is logical, considering, of course, that we are building a fuel efficient car. And even in the budget category, it scores okay. So I would say we try to have for such a car, at, well, maybe even not 200, maybe 8% markup. It's low, but this would be highly produced in larger numbers. And let's just save it to be sure. Now let's fine tune. So we see that lower gives. Oh, maybe I should actually change this. It's also a pony car. That's strange. Okay. So not too much overdrive then. And then let's see if we wheel speed spin is not something we should be worried about with this car. Also look at this acceleration, it's horrible. We can go a bit smaller even, I would say. Yeah. Then we adjust this again. Oh. Well, wait. Did it improve? Well, I would rather have this. A bit more acceleration. And then we, the brakes are looking fine. Can we get away with drop? Yeah, we could, but it does hurt a lot for the brake fade. Let's see if we reduce this. No, it's maybe better to reduce that a bit. These can be a bit smaller as well. So it becomes a bit cheaper. Now this is still fine, of course. Does this help? No. Does it hurt if we reduce it? Yeah, a bit, but we can reduce it slightly. 4-seater, yeah, 4-seater would help, definitely. So we go for a 4-seater in the commuter category. Anti-lock brakes, no, they don't help. It's not necessary. Electronic stability is also not super important. The power steering is, so we keep power steering. So it's going to be a very... Oh, and then we reduce, of course, the entertainment. Yeah, and if we have basic interior, oh, it scores even better. Because we save a lot of money, of course. And the car becomes lighter, so... That's better. Standard, or... Yeah, let's go for standard. And let's see, if we now increase the quality, no. If we increase the quality here, it helps. Okay. And here? No, it hurts. Okay. So we keep it like that. Now again, let's set it back to normal. And let's have a look. If we adjust these a bit. Roll bar, the roll is a bit high, the body roll, but it should be okay. Like that, it's fine. I'm not going to look into these right now, it shouldn't be that relevant at the moment for this budget car. So that's how it looks. It's, yeah, because of the weight loss, it actually became even more fuel economical. So that's what we get, a very nice, I would say, for a budget car, very nice 5 liter per 100 kilometer fuel mileage. And it really scores well in the budget commuter category and in the regular commuter category and also in the family. So this would be a car that would sell very well. I think we can up this a bit because, well, it's a bit too cheap maybe right now. So let's aim for just below 11,000. Yeah, that would be okay. That's a cheap car. Yeah. Now we going to clone this one. Yeah. And we're going to make this the Eco Turbo version. And we are going to fit in the turbo variant engine. Now let's have a look initially how things are changing. So economy wise it becomes a bit less because of the weight, I assume. And besides that it scores better in all the other categories, but except drivability, which is again logical because the turbo is in there, so you have some more issues with driving. Reliability is way lower, and that's possibly because of this. Okay. Yeah. Besides that, I think it performs well. This seems to be okay. Let's look at the tires. Are they? Well, we can fit a bit bigger tires also on this car. Let's try to make it even, but it's a bit bigger. If we change that, no, we can leave it as is. Brakes. Well, this of course. You can increase them. A bit more aggressive. Should be sufficient. Now we can decrease these. Like that. Cheaper. And let's increase the gearing in such a way that we can reach the top speed and even get better fuel mileage out of it. And look at that acceleration, 12 seconds. Now, 12.2, but it's still fine. It's way, way, way better. Bigger tires would of course also help. Maybe we should even increase them a bit further. Like that. It's a bit more friction on the road, so it will hurt fuel economy. But it will give us more grip. And it will reduce the wheel spin. Nah, maybe let's keep a bit of wheel spin there. Right? Not the worst. Definitely not. Let's see, if we have put in a viscous diff, let's adjust. Does it improve the... Yeah, maybe. So, we put in a viscous diff here. It also helps with the wheel spin a bit. Keep this the same. This is okay, maybe we have to up this again a bit. Like that. This is also fine, because this is a bit better. Keep it like that. Maybe we can keep it as a 4-seater. And of course now we are going to aim for a more premium market. So we are going to aim for the commuter car together with maybe a family car, somewhat. If we put in standard, it helps. Yeah, definitely. Premium also still helps. But okay. And if we put in 5-seaters, it helps for the family. 5-seater premium. I think we have to go for a 4-seater premium. Okay. Maybe reduce this. No, it helps. Let's not go overboard with this. And of course we put in electronic stability. And maybe ABS as well. It will definitely increase the engineering time a lot, but should be fine. And if it needs to be family, of course we need also to have better safety. Now for this we can again adjust slightly for what is necessary then at least. So we stiffen up the front to get rid of some body roll. We can also further stiffen the front springs. Like that. And let's see, oh, this makes it worse. So of course we need to adjust using the camber in the front. so that drivability is increasing, and ride height can also up a bit. So like that. Let's see. So I would say that this car is now also done. It's now the this is now the turbo version, and for this version we also have a slightly more fancier color. Something like that. Yeah. So that will end up being, of course, more expensive. So we can go for a 28% is pretty high though, but it's fine. This car would cost around 15,000. Sounds good. So now we have at least a car with the turbo motor in it. And it's still economical. It's heavier, of course, so it's less economical than the previous one, but it's still economical. How does it actually perform? Okay, and then the airfield track. It's slow, but anyway, it's fine. Acceleration is also a bit slow though. That's mostly because of the extra weight of the premium stuff inside the car. So yeah, this looks like a finished product. And then the only thing that we still have to do is, and I think we can also clone this car again, the standard one. We can make a performance version of this car. That will of course use a different engine. And for the color we go full red, and let's by the way adjust this for the performance version. We'll just obscure the handles like that, and maybe for the performance version we should actually have a nice exhaust over here sticking out of the body. Oh, it's a bit too big though, but like that. I think that would be nice. And what we could do actually for the performance version is we can model the car a bit differently. It can be a bit smaller. A bit more streamlined. Like that. That should help. Okay, let's have a look. So for these we are going for a non-commuter car, but more for a sports budget, I would say. And indeed maybe for a pony car. So let's adjust the gears again. Oh yeah, and then of course we put in the turbo performance engine. Look at the curve. So really, this engine definitely demands way more, and it also demands way more cooling, but still super reasonable. Let's have the peak power at the estimated top speed of the car. And then we want to have power approximately 50 maybe. And then we go of course for sports compound tires. And they're going to be definitely a bit bigger. And we're going to aim way more towards sportier segments. So we're going to have bigger tires in the front versus the rear, and that will help with how the car performs. Or considering it's a front-engined car. Oh yeah, and then of course for this, don't forget, you can just increase the tire size, and let's also increase the diameter. Look at that. Yeah, also helps a lot. Fine. Then of course we can also go for bigger brakes. We go for vented. And maybe, well, we can have two options. Either we increase the aggressiveness of the pads. I think we should do that. It's cheaper. And then for the drums in the back, we can just up the size of the diameter. Something like this. Should be okay. This is all fine. Let's see, does this help? Semi-clad or... Semi-clad seems to help, then we do that as well. We of course only keep in 4 seats, which is already not super sporty, but okay. And let's go. Yeah, if we do sport. No. Premium is still okay. I think we can go for standard. And basic CD internally. Do we need traction control? Nah, we don't really need that. Electronic stability we definitely need, and ABS we also need. And we need advanced safety. So for this version we could go for, if you put in active sport it helps a lot. So we can go for active sport, and maybe, let's see, does this help? Not that much. So we can go for gas monotubes again with passive sway bars, and we go for a sports setting. And in this setting what we will do is we will decrease the camber in the front. Let's also make the front a bit more stiff and maybe the rear a bit more grippy. No. Reduce the sway bar stiffness in the back. Maybe increase it somewhat in the front. This. And then increase the ride height. And this we can increase. So. Okay. Sounds good. So how much faster would, and of course the markup for this car, well, it's going to be the sports version, so let's make it the most expensive out of these. Also sports budget scores really well, so I think we can go for this one. Now let's see how it performs. Still a bit heavy though. The cornering is also not that great, but considering what we start out and the engine and stuff like that, I think it's pretty decent. Oh, 136, so that's almost, well, it's more than, it's about 12 seconds faster. Mostly due to the engine, of course, but still. Nice. So yeah, that's how it looks like if you make a couple of cars, a couple of variants. And by the way, it's still decently economical, sorry. So not that much. Of course, you can still further optimize this a lot. Don't forget about that. And like I said, this body type is not really ideal for a sports car, especially not with the setup of the chassis. But I think it works somewhat. I mean, you would be able to sell these cars. But anyway, that's how it looks like if you build a couple of cars in automation. Which in this case, which is a bit of a strange thing, we made 3 different cars. We made a standard eco version with small tires and just a transverse turbo engine that non-turbo engine that is fully tuned for economy. And then we got, for such a decent car, we actually got a nice fuel economical result. And it's still okay. I mean, it's still like, well, doesn't have that much power, but it's sufficient. And it's a sedan, so it's a bit of a strange combi. This would fit better, I assume, in a hatchback. That's, well, we didn't really have that much various body types available for that one. Then we also had the Eco Turbo version, which ultimately consumed a bit more fuel, but was also a bit more rigged towards the, let's say, regular consumer and family markets. And we had a nice markup as well. And still a good economy, and of course a decent powerful engine, 70 horsepower, thanks to the turbo, that's also in there. But yeah, I think this one was also a very nice car. And then we also have the performance version, which used the same engine, but then the turbo performance one variant, which actually had a the turbo boosting performance setup that produced or allows from the same block, the same engine, allows us to produce 144 horsepower instead of the 65-ish or the 90 horsepower as in the other variants. Of course, it will cost a bit more fuel, but it's still a nice setup. And even still would score in the commuter car category, but it now scored mostly into the more sportier categories like the family sports cars, the pony and the sport budget cars, and even also the light sport, though it's not that light. So yeah, that also works. But then you would have 3 different cars for 3 different segments, of which 2 are very similar but just are slightly different. One is more focused towards budget, the other more towards the regular commuter and family market. And then this one is more towards the sportier dad, I would say, the more sportier family market, and of course the muscle car and sports car categories. So with that, I will stop this video. Please like and subscribe if you like to see more of these videos, And also please inform me about it in the comment section if you want to see me make a certain type of car. You can even make some specifications for it. I will try to see what I can do, and feel free to comment. And with that, I hope that you will have a very pleasant day, and see you again next time.